to do. Workshops we do spiritual then we the head. And I think this world let's get to yes. So there's a lot going on. Other issues. So I live in. I don't see much in that. I do. I'm in Philadelphia. Have changed. What are we going to do? Like better our neighborhood? Um,
Oh, okay. Well, is we have to uh our communities significant and it. I think that I've gone places. I have eating a chicken box and they just chicken right in front. The like okay, right now. Let's see. You were somewhere. If this is something something that like somebody to, what would you? So I think that we have to see that it actually is significant because the thing is that when you are invested into something, you are not going to let tag on it, throw knives in the wall, spray paint, all over it. It's be like, nah, man, you can't do that. I fixed this. This is mine. And so I think that we want it to change the mind frame. Because even when I go into schools, the first thing that I do as I'm assessing how I'm going to, change this situation, change the climate of the school. The one thing I want to know, I'm like, hold on, we got to take all this graffiti down now. You know what I'm saying? Where the lights at? Why is it so dark in all of these hallways? We got to brighten it up some because we have to get a person to think a little bit different before they can act different.
Well said. What the brother said, I would add to that. You have to put gentrification in its number one, separated from the economic. Is to say, ability to have. For example, why lockdown 40, 50 of that housing on the they made it. That's number vision to if George Bush came. That y'all need to
Right.
because they're coming to take it. Right. Then the third unification. I grew up nothing like. But again, we don't function as we don't function as neighbors. It's easy I by making black people raising the real estate tax on others, so we don't want to compete to the agenda anyhow. Right. So that's another big piece because most is the big landscape gentrification. Last piece I would throw not under control charter schools as a in local education war. Right. Long story short, not take out the district support. And you cannot take without shutting down the public school that those children do.
Perfect. I'm going to get you, young man, but I want to ask. Education. Because I think education. How do we back of us? How do we educate the other next and strategize?
Far too have to bring include. Responsible. Let's just be honest. Absent by and large the exceptions. You're one. But as a and will political have not in a way to leverage our fight at miseducation, mass incarceration, lack of access, along with your 5. Look at our law. I can't name a major church that is at the fighting. Follow. That's number 2. We have allowed yes. It was embarrassing to hear Shaquille O'Neal, Deion Sanders, Jalen Rose, Stephen A. Smith, Charles Barkley, the act I've always looked to as a young man. But to hear them not support Colin Kaepernick and say he needs to apologize,
Right.
he needs to recognize the mistake. This brother was protesting. How dare you side with flag?
Come on,
A
brother.
flag created,
Exactly.
you understand, to
Right.
represent our oppression, and
Right.
then you side with the anthem. An anthem written by a slave
Come on
master
now.
Right.
against your own people.
Right.
Had that been NAACP, Urban League,
Right.
the
Would've been all
congressional,
over it.
they would have been all over it.
You're
So
right.
we are now in an era where it is totally black people.
I'm going to let the young brother speak, and then we'll come back. Dr. Well familiar. Moving on up. Moving on up is a wonderful. I don't knock anybody
And
for trying to
Wheezy.
better because
Right.
I have a problem.
But you don't have to move out to move up.
Right. But at the same time,
right.
and not forget, I have a problem. If you're not, I have a problem. Celebrities. So I hope you have the have the money. Like the all they're painting a negative. I think what has happened now about me, we're not unity. I believe nation up together. Struggle for I got mine. Got to get you.
Well, when I go back, you at how U.S. history mandatory starts Black history, slavery, and I think that when you have some young people, they don't want to identify with being a slave,
Right.
and rightly so.
Right.
I mean, we have to be able to go past and beyond being able to do something, Harriet Tubman and different things. I mean, they were great. They were a great part of our history, but they need to go back to the history, the some of the kings. Study. They even talk about the pre-Socrates, who actually said that they studied under kings in Africa. So I think that it goes back to just trying to abolish that self-hate, because even with a lot of these guys out here, they call themselves putting in work. I mean, a lot of it is indirect self-suicide. So I'm gonna kill you because you look just like me.
Right.
But I'm actually I'm doing it over a lint ball in our pocket, because we're not even over a $10,000 contract,
Right.
a $15,000 contract.
Right.
And I even ask cats, I'm like, yo, okay, then I'm like, yo, did they smack your mother? Nah. Did they spit on your grandmother? Nah. Did they rape your daughter? So hold on. So I'm like to tell you. So you trying to tell me that you are trying to actually take this man's life because of something? Because of something, because you saying that he looked at your girl and this particular girl was actually community property. Let's keep it real. So and that's how it is. So I'm trying to see, so even in my book, Temporarily Insane, I have a part that talks about a lot of these young cats. Nobody has even taught them how to do wrong the right way. So they've even been doing wrong, which is a double negative.
Right.
So when I look at that, as being the situation, until we can actually teach, to live first. Because I know some people are like, well, no, they have to be this way. And so I'm like, hold on, what we're going to have to do is build a bridge between the spoken word, dashiki wearing brothers who are so conscious with that same ratchet, gold teeth, pants hanging down soldier that's in the street that don't know the difference.
Right.
Because I'm saying they need to know that I don't want to stop you from being a soldier. I need you to know what to fight for.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the bridge that we have to build between the two, because I see that as being a disconnect.
And I think it's not even what to fight, how to fight. I
Right,
think it's a
right,
specific
right.
way how to fight.
But it is the what as well, as he said.
Yeah, no, I said
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it is
Those
what.
values are messed up.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
you
yeah.
got to give them
Right.
priorities.
So let's change. Oh, not true. But we
4 quick points on my end. And number one, this is so timely because Philadelphia incarcerated more life without parole. Not only more. Philadelphia, life without parole. With that being said, number one, one thing that what do we keep Black men of any age from going, but no about responsibility, spirituality, being a better father.
Right.
But guess what? What is the glue that holds all of those together?
A job.
A job.
Right, exactly.
And nobody's still disappointed. Narrative that says happy people don't kill other people. Happy people don't commit. So what we have to do, where our brothers have a fighting to earn a decent life with a job, so they don't have to engage in crime. I can tell you, I have brothers. I want pulling the list off minimum, but everywhere. I think we have to fight for expungement of criminal record where it cannot be after you. I don't have a problem with you needing to be for 48 months, 64 months to get out. That's fine, but there should be a deadline.
Right.
But to put this around my neck and hold it around my neck 20, 30, 40, 50 years after I pay my to society isn't fair. And I believe biggest one, it is a free labor.
Yes,
We
labor.
cannot
Say it again.
ignore all corporations go to the prisons to pay for their products to be made. The U.S. military, if you're in the military, you're told by prisoners, you must buy there first. So we have to look at how America's war machine is largely facts of black inmates. Number two, mass incarceration, source of research. They love. They can help. Take this for profit. If your prostate out, you can't sue me. You understand? So they love
let it fall out. Let it fall out.
It's easy to get to the science because we need. And number three, where's the black? One of the biggest things it has done, it has made relevant.
And we talked about this years ago. The fact is, a woman can keep the black man out of the house.
Yeah.
And people don't get
They had a
that.
movie Claudine about that.
Yeah, I'll put you on welfare. We'll give you house. They no longer have the power that we had. And they're willing to, I worked in America for over 30 years. They're willing to pay and promote a black woman over a black man any day.
Because she's not.
Exactly. So,
I mean, and it's ironic you're even talking about that. Me and my cousin, Attorney Malik Zulu, we were just, he said, you know, he actually, we were in Jackson, Mississippi, at the state building, and marched there with the people from the community and talked about the conditions of the prison, talking about the gang members and different things of nature. So, but one of the things is we're going to need wraparound services. They don't understand it to that degree because as I'm mentoring my son, I need to be focusing on connecting you with your father. I need to be also allowing him to be at work because now it's a trick game where, you know, he's still being held for child support, but he can't get the job because he can't get his license because of child support. So we have to break those barriers down. And then I may have to be dealing with a mother that actually is needing a job and also to get off of drugs and different things of that nature. So as we do this, we're going to need, you know, things that are coming together. You can't just focus on the job because it's as you focus on just the money factor. If you don't have the right mind set, you're going to mess up even with the money. You know what I'm saying? You're going to mess. You're going to turn around. Even when somebody was talking about, you know, when I was out there in D.C. about reparations, I said, well, let me share something with you. Things need to come in order because it's levels to this thing. If you gave people just checks for $1 million, that would be disastrous.
Yes.
You know
With
what I'm saying?
no
So
economic
there has to
infrastructure.
be there has to be levels to how it's done, because you're going to have one person that may open up that school, may say get 10 brothers, we're going to open up a bank. Then you're going to have them brother that's going to say we're going to flip a couple keys, we're going to get some guns, and we're going to, and because their mindset has not changed as far as to living. See, the thing is, like I've told some of the guys I deal with, yeah, you've proven you can kill, and you've definitely proven me you can die, but you haven't proven that you can live yet. I need for you to live first. And so until we can do that and get a different mindset, you know, on that. And so I'm tired of some of these culture vultures and some of these poverty pimps who have been opportunists on the community, you know, and we need to get the real ones. I would rather have 10 soldiers that I know is conscious and about change for our community than 100 I ain't sure about. Right. Because some people just come in with their own agendas and they're not even going to show up unless it's a camera there. Right. I don't need you. I need the one that's really to roll his sleeves up, and I'm ready to put in some work, and because I'm trying to save this young man's life.
Right. We commentary, and I don't mind going. Almost see it as a badge of honor, and that's been. And then talk to some guys, like.
3 hots in the cot.
Yeah, exactly.
3 hots in the cot.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things. Number one, also have to look at because of that, out of black. It's one of the best ways to treat and stay alive and get fed. See, so that's one thing. A lot of people, not because they glorify it, as it keeps during the winter months. Okay. Number two, mental illness in the black male. Remember, over the past, they shut down state mental health hospitals and transformed them into brothers, working class brothers, unemployed brothers. Sometimes the only to get mental health treatment get incarcerated. The truth of the matter, as bad as they are treated, are still privileges that a man will not receive. So again, going that economic castration of the black male, often that conversation takes place in a vacuum that looks at criminal other symptom of character or morals. But if we take the, let's go into the and let's look at history. They were the dope dealers. They were the liquor runners. Right. They were the gang rollers. You understand? They broke the law. Right? Because it wasn't until 1940 that they were considered white people. So prior to 1940, they did exactly what our brothers are doing now. The difference is the government stepped in and gave the Irish the Philadelphia Police Department and gave the Italians the Philadelphia Fire Department and gave the European Jews the civil service municipal jobs that they still control to this day. So they gave poor white immigrants an economic stimulus package. So the question I have, Cory Booker's no longer in the race. The question I would have, Kamala Harris is no longer in the race, but for Bernie Sanders, a Joe Biden, anyone who's running. Where is the economic stimulus package for black men?
Excellent. I want to introduce. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Can you tell us your name?
Yes, my name is Samuel. I read, man, made it to school. That is skills, abilities. Creativity. Really anything. We don't just need a principal at orientation. How have to see that's my and
We can do. Next, you're another. Okay. And there's a lot of talking between our age. As a young person, I don't really like that. But what is your perception? Our generation, but we
I want to add one thing to what he said, real quick. El said, by the way, there is a systematic difference, unsystematic difference that separates the African American baby boomer from the African American Chinese European. That is, that's they can be. last time you? When's the last time you see? The last time Mexican? But I can show you black youth all over the place. Right. So until we as a struggle for them to be able to eat off, it's going to be to get them.
Oh, I want to chime in.
Sure, go ahead.
Expressly stated. Sure. They seize them, and then they provide them they need, but it's contingent upon them aiding and abetting the harm. So that's what.
Powerful.
So what he's saying, we need a city where we got 10 black counties. So black people wanting anything in Wilmington, Delaware.
Shouldn't be.
Okay? Shouldn't be
Word
wanting
shouldn't.
for anything.
Right.
But when you take a problem that orient, some of them, right?
Yes, that's a big problem.
Take all that stuff into consideration. And all of these that we have, we don't say institutions, city streets. That's 5% Wilmington, more than young people then go couple meet. Let's be
Yes,
simple
yes,
about
yes,
it.
right,
yes,
okay?
yes,
Oh.
yes.
So those are some of the things that I've spent a lifetime. I've been involved with. Folks, justice, fairness. Part of that. Probation and police department. That. But I understand being legal. But it's no different. That's our problem.
Right.
That is our
I
problem.
agree with you 100%.
And what we don't do, young folks aren't for no.
Nah.
They know the truth.
Nah.
Yes, they do.
So,
Real,
but we
recognize
have
real.
to tell
They do.
them the truth.
Right.
Because they want to hear the truth. They
That's
want to
right.
know what's going on. They want to know what to do. And they want opportunity to decide what to do.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And they just need us sometimes to help them.
And to ask them, now, I have a guy's son, I have another. One thing that I find cases with, they're more than willing to have an logical thought about. I live in.
We had a young buck
All right.
walked up to us. If you're 20, I said, well, did I'm
Right.
and then I went on and fixed it. Had the state
All
law
right.
change. Young people have good ideas
Yes.
and lowered to match because they view threat.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not
Exactly.
our threat.
Right.
If we help orient them, they are our future,
Right,
not our
right,
threat
right.
to us.
This is where
Yeah.
the power, I believe, comes in. you're not helping them to that. There are plenty of y'all, like I said, plenty of you have great. I know for a fact you're a lot of politics stuck in their, they're not really where everybody else have enough common sense. A lot of times, common sense a lot further.
No, I was just saying that they definitely hitting on some key points as far as with that. But what I feel is we have been using 8-track solution for iPod problem. The problem is that most people are so disconnected. So you have the people who are the haves and the have-nots. You have the person who is in power to make different decisions. They have not. So it's a doctor that's making the prognosis. So when you're dealing with that as being the situation, you know, they don't understand, you know, what that person that's on the ground, and only people with boots on the ground are going to really understand, you know, what it is, you know, to have to heat the house with the oven, to have that, exactly, to have to have oodles and noodles with the tuna fish, and then a little hot sauce, and then that's called the hookup. Right. So you know, so you don't know what it is. So how are you making all of these different decisions without talking to that person? You know, and so, you know, we're going to have to actually bring, you know, some of the people, and until we have people who represent what we really look like, not that person that is that homogenized, cut cardboard person that somebody that actually is really a puppet for somebody else that's pulling the string. But we really need to have somebody that is really, you know, connected, you know, with that, because even just like with some of the people who are in the churches and different things, if you're not outside of that church, that's a problem. You know, that's really a problem. You have to be the church without walls. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because because my thing is, how do you expect for the hood to come to your service, your time, with your rules, with your dress code, if you're not prepared to go on their corner and during their hours with their dress code, with their rules, and different things of that nature? So we have to really bring that. I guess I'm a person that I want to be. I was known for blowing up bridges. But I'm trying to see how we can build some between, you know, the two communities that are called the Tale of Two Cities.
Right. Our final guest for the evening, Dr. Tracy McNair. Trey McNair, thank you for joining us. Good evening. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing?
Oh, dang.
I know you're not lost for words.
Is he sure?
Right. Doing this. That's the key right there. Like, I want to be above. I want to be recognized because I came up with that solution.
You know what, and if I may say just real quick, one of the things that actually we've been even doing in Baltimore. Now I go all over the country and also South Africa, England, and different things. But this has been something that's been unique. And I had some brothers that came to me. Now I'm the founder of Men Against Murder. And also, but they came to me and they said, well, look, we would like to do something in the community, doing different things. I said, well, let me share something with you. I said, we're not going to be able to do anything until we can get black men to come together and they're not worrying about who's getting the grant money and who's going to get the credit. And I said, we have to, it has to be kind of like, you know, that where we are just one solid wall, one solid fist, one solid punch. And we actually brought the brothers now. I brought the men from the Men Against Murder. In fact, they're actually marching right now. If you look on some different people's feed, they're marching right now. And we brought them, got hooked up with the Nation of Islam, the different gang members, ex-gang members, different pastors, bishops, and we actually brought resources out. And so what we did is we were helping young men to get jobs. We actually even, the part that I love, we even had a number that if you have a beef, you could call this number. And then we actually had a person that was driving behind us, that if we ran across somebody that needed to get into drug rehabilitation, you know, as far as program, they would take them immediately there. And so we ended up doing this in just a couple of months. We got over 85 jobs for some men, and we got over 30 people into drug rehab, you know, and the whole nine, and we're still marching, and we're actually shooting to get 1,000 men for Monday to march in Martin Luther King's celebration as far as March. You know, so only with that saying that it had to be where we broke down these egos of I can't deal with him, or I won't work with him. You can't be a good leader until you can at least know how to be a good follower. And so until we could actually do, and it's funny because actually it was a whole bunch of marches. They were like, oh, Brother Ted, can you bring your men out here? And I'm like, man, I'm not messing with that. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm not, or this is not, it's a different agenda, or this is too weak. I don't want to be a part of anything weak. But when I saw that it was real men that was willing to put aside, I'm the leader of this, but I'm going to march with brothers shoulder to shoulder. I am in charge of this. Because you have some people, they'd be okay as long as they in charge of one person. So I'm like, it ain't just, y'all ain't marching, y'all just two people strolling. You know what I'm saying? And so we need to actually do that. But until you can, y'all just taking a walk in the park. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, and so my whole thing is, but when you do that, you know, we can actually be able to make a difference, breaking down some of those walls that society says we haven't been able.
That's a question. I'm not. I was. I know that at the end, from my perspective, we've lost help us. A lot of people church. I'm not talking about church. Talk about spirituality. I'm talking about God and how I believe that can help us too.
Council. Church people.
Right.
Oh, you at the end of the something greater than.
Mm.
I never argue with anybody. Have you? I do. What I'm saying, but real tired of it.
Exactly. Gotcha.
Piece.
Uh-oh.
I'm a therapist. Psychology is what I do. When someone comes to therapy, one of the things we talk about is why didn't they make it last? And when you start going down the list of why black people in particular are missing their therapy sessions, is because I had to try to find it, or I had to babysit the children so my wife could go and work her job, or I had to go visit my nephew in prison, or I had to put out a community fire in the neighborhood. The point is, we're not going to get back to spirituality until we get back to community. The problem is that we're not helping our people tackle their everyday challenges that free up the time for them to focus on their spirituality. It's just like when you're dealing with someone who's obese. They come to therapy, they're obese, they want to lose weight. First thing you have to do is that time assessment, okay? And one of the toughest things for them to do is to set aside the time, go to the gym. So if we want black people to get back to spirituality, if we don't help them deal with their tangible responsibility, it's going to be impossible to get back to that which you can't see until you can first handle the things that you can see.
I gotta say something. I got to say something about
Young
it.
brother first.
I
Get the young
got
brother.
to say that. You know what I'm saying? All right, and you know what I'm saying? Because y'all done opened up a Pandora's box up in here.
I'm gonna need to write your offering before here. Priest is looking right there. All right, go ahead, Dr.
No,
Ted.
no, I love it, and I just tell you now, he got me all messed up. But I mean, I think it's so significant because for me, I feel that help redefine how people actually even see the, because I've talked to some people, oh, they just think weak, you know what I'm saying, they think it's just a church full of women. Well, I'm telling them like this, I'm like, well, look, man, I'm one of the hardest brothers that into. I was just like, man, and it wasn't nothing but changed my particular situation.
Amen.
So it is so
Amen.
ironic that I was known as, if anybody ever Googles Dr. Ted, they'll find me. But if you ever Google Crazy Ted Sutton, my face is gonna come up.
Right.
I mean, and I even challenge people to do that. Google Crazy Ted Sutton, my face is
Right.
gonna come up. You know, and so, but I had a situation where I ended up asking for God to give me second chance in the Mitchell Courthouse building, second floor, fourth bathroom stall, 10 minutes before I was to get sentenced to 15 years. And I ended up receiving a miracle. And with that situation, but out of all of the places that I have spoke around the world and in different places, you know what? One of the key places to speak is when I was the keynote speaker at my high school, where the principal placed a bet I wouldn't make it to 21, and my counselor said I shouldn't attempt to go to college. And I ended up coming back with my master's, working on my doctorate at the time. But they sat a man next to me. It was Congressman Elijah Cummings. And he looked at me, and then he looked at the program, and then he looked at me, and he said, you have to tell me what you've been doing. And I said, yeah, because the last time we were sitting next to each other, this was not the situation, because he was my lawyer for assault and possession with a handgun. Before he became a congressman, I was his last case that he defended. So to see how God took me from one place to another, it was for me to be a living testimony.
Yes, sir.
To be able to show these cats, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing weak about me, dog. And yes, and I can get down with the best of y'all out here. So I ain't just been there, done it. I've been there, done that, wrote the book, and starred in the movie. So I've done probably 2 and 3 and 4 or 5 times, and then square that of what you have done. You know what I'm saying? But I also showed that I'm a testament that God is a miracle. So for me, you know, as along with the negative stuff that they said I done, I said, just look me up and you're going to see I'm the person that stopped a mugger from mugging a lady in Walbrook Junction. I'm a person who stopped a man who was carjacking a lady, you know, on Liberty Road. I'm the man that ran in a burning building and pulled a young girl out and then caught a baby from the 3rd floor. I'm that same person. And, you know, and so for my whole thing, you know what I'm saying, I had to let them know. In fact, one of my chapters talks about, you know, don't be born an original and die a copy. Because most of the guys out here, they want to be leaders. They just don't know what to lead for. And if we could actually see what their real purpose was. And see, and I say, and get off of some of them pictures that you've seen in the Bible. Everything that happened in the Bible was in Africa. Even talking about Jesus is feet like hair like wool, feet like fiery brass. And I say, so he had to have had some color. But my message for that day at that same high school was, you're not trash, you're just tarnished. So it may just take a person like the genie in the lamp to rub you and show you something different. And then sometimes that person to encourage you might even have to be you.
I grew. I was part of my role in a will help you out of my concern lost it. Because like I know a lot because God is earth today. All there is him and ask him for some kind of guidance or something. Not going to, I believe. Just my organization find their way back. God has. I follow. That's where I just wanted to stop the guy.
I want to add a piece real
Sure.
quick because I agree. Spirituality is central. There's no getting away. Time though, I think sometimes we separate from the behavior of the church when it's convenient, and then we want to attach God to the behavior of the church when it's convenient. If there is one thing that has served take the black man out of the church more than anything else, it has been the church not being vested in the everyday challenges of the black man. And with the restructuring of black society by white to the point where black women now out-educate and out-earn black men, we see a lot of churches extremely hesitant and anxious about holding black women responsible for the role that they play in the oppression of black males. And so when there needs to be a conversation about involving men in their children's lives, some churches won't have that for fear that they will castrate their female audience and she will not deliver into that pot the next collection around. When there's a need to have a conversation about whether or not this brother should have been taken to child support court when he was more than willing to take care of his children, you know, with an agreement with you outside of the court, the church isn't having that conversation. And when it comes to number one, employment, when it comes to giving black men livable wage jobs, we don't see enough agitation or irritation or organization from the church to fight to make black men the heads of the household that we all believe that they should be. If the church wants to re-attract black men into their life, then they're going to have to become relevant in the lives of black men, because as males, we are very outcome based. It's about making that job, paying those bills, spending time with those. And if the church is not helping me become the best black man I can be, best black husband, best black father, then what good is the church? Right. And I see too often church the agenda of the black feminist as opposed to the agenda of the black male who wants to make a better life for him.
And I'm just going
It's not all churches.
It don't bother me because it don't affect me.
I want to say not all churches.
You know what I'm saying? It don't affect me, so I don't even apply to that. You know what I'm saying?
We're all in some way responsible for ourselves.
Yes.
Because I know there are a lot of good churches, pastors that teach, they have programs for you. I can feed, but if you're not going to eat, I can't afford it.
Agreed. But then where is the police agitation? For example, Philadelphia black clergy as a Wilmington, but same thing. Where is that collective body that advocates and agitates for resources for black males? Why are we not agitating these banks that hold our tax dollars to give out business grants and small business loans to brothers? Because even though they can't find a job, they don't necessarily need one. Give him that $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 grant, and then build a team around him to make sure his business succeeds past the 5th year. Where is that at? Because there's so many simple things the black church can do to empower black men, but it appears often in many churches that the pastor would rather be the metaphorical husband to 1 million single black women than to be that pastor that sees to it that all these individual black men can be husbands.
You know, I love all opinions. You know, and that's the great thing about conversation.
And it's not everybody.
No, it's not everybody.
It's not everybody.
It's not everybody. Right. Let's change the topic. Things that I hear a lot, and I'm
so angry.
Why are black men so angry? Oh, we'll talk about y'all later.
I'm smiling right now.
I'm
smiling right now.
This may sound paradoxical. Coming from black man wasn't angry. Right. I would be concerned about his mental health.
Right.
Think about it.
Come on, brother. Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
Think about the psychopath and think about the sociopath. What do they all have in common? You know the name. They are to inflict pain and receive it and be non-responsive.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the
Like
black
Dexter.
man still responds to inequality lets me know he cares.
Mm-hmm.
It's when
He's
he
human.
stops being angry that I get concerned, because when he stops being angry, he'll pick up the cigarettes. When he stops being angry, he'll grab the crack pipe. When he stops being angry, he'll get the alcoholism. When he stops being angry, he'll take that woman's sexual, you understand, innocence from her. So the anger shows me that there's a living, breathing black man beneath all that who is still.
But is it anger or is it frustration?
Well,
They're
those
two
are
different.
cousins.
Right, exactly.
They related. They all relate. They all in the same family.
The same family, right?
They are,
exactly,
but you know what?
right.
I'm gonna tell you something that I said. I was out speaking somewhere. I said, let me tell you something. And I was just like, if you are a pastor, if you are an imam, if you are a brother, you know what I'm saying, out here, if you are not uncomfortable some nights, if it's some nights that you are not on the edge of your bed, I'm saying, you know, it's sitting like, man, I am not cool with what's going on. I'm not cool with Lil Pookie, and he just got 20 years and ain't getting nothing out of the deal. I said, I'm not cool with this brother that got gunned down. I'm saying, it bothered me marching the other night, and I'm talking to a brother, and he's telling me about we're standing where his son got killed, and he has 4 sons, and he lost 3 to the streets. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Meeting a brother that was right here in the prison up here, and he actually met his father for the first time in prison. And his father actually met his father in the first time in prison, and he had a young son at home. And so I'm saying, so where are you gonna meet Lil Davon at? Is he gonna meet you also in prison? And so for me, you should be uncomfortable. There should be sometimes, even the Bible says to anger but sin not. So it's even saying you should be angry and all this and that. And so for me and things, you know, I think that if you are complacent, if you are okay because you got your little Benz and you got your white picket fence around your house and you put an alarm on you put a little, that's the side boo. You know what I'm saying? And you got your alarm on your house and your car, and you made the statement, as long as they don't mess with my car and my house and my children, it ain't my problem. Now you are now the problem.
Exactly.
Now you are now coming counterproductive to what our mission is as a people. So you have to understand that, you know, we might have to come at you a little, you know what I'm saying, side eye and sideways, you know what I'm saying? So until you get that way, we can never help our people until we connect with the. And so it's hard for people to understand when you don't know. If you're a person, you don't know what regular milk costs and regular bread costs and that and the third, you know, how are you going? What's going on with this?
Because, like, you know, we soldiers put the label on. Right. That's what they want to do. They doing it. I don't I think it's not us. We
Right.
know when we body. No, we know what angry. Okay, saying our young folk angry. They're not anger, but the that's the cue. So and some whites, I'm the person I will say that's straight out the white supremacy playbook, right? Now that's when why you so
So
angry?
angry.
Right?
Right,
No,
right,
I'm not
right.
angry.
Right, exactly.
I'm knowledgeable
Right.
about what you're doing. I've spent a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
What the rules mean are that they want to pay.
Asian.
Yeah,
Right.
and they have as I want to lack of fight, right? They saying, but we can't live by it. We can't,
Right.
and so then we're willing to argue. Those are those are power moves. Black man is willing to step out. They don't like that. I once created a any child. There was some helping. Oh, they was upset with me for creating this program, right?
You was jamming up that prison pipeline.
Messing
Elder.
up. That's right.
What's wrong with you, Elder?
They got upset about that. And then I created another program, a party program, where all the money, where everything was. We pay for their records, down there, application.
Come on, brother.
We put so many people in pipe that what they had to hire more parties. Well, as soon as I wasn't in office, sellout grows, got rid of both of the programs. The programs wasn't about me. I didn't need pardon. I didn't have my children were grown. When they was kids, if they needed somebody to expose it, they had a dad to go, right? If they needed to do that.
Right.
They didn't have to do it. If so, I'm saying to you that it's not anger. It's knowing that it's pain. Okay? Like I used to teach kids in math class, teach them. But when you're playing, so I teach. I used to teach there. That's how every game, like world, it's a rigged game for us to lose. So we have to do more. Friends win. So you get up, like people. When what was the for a pass? People every but don't worry about it.
Says you watch a boxing match, boxer get out of that. They rumble.
Yes, sir.
They rumble. You ain't cheating me. One bad call, we rumble.
Right. Okay. Dr. McGarry. You
Don't
got
you
you
go there.
got the psychologist in the house.
Not the eugenics. Don't you dare say the eugenics.
But you know what? It's real funny. One thing I say, they say real recognize real, but I feel real recognize everything. When I went into the schools, I actually did. I asked for the high risk list in some of the most challenging schools in Baltimore. And I turned it into the high expectation list. So asking for 25 of the kids that none of the teachers wanted in their class, but I was able to help change the climate of the school and being able to do that. Even with one of the schools I went in, I was the first thing I was like, okay, we're gonna play $5 grab. Who got $5? The guy said, I actually, walked by him and I just grabbed it and put it in my pocket. And he said, well, Dr. Ted, when we gonna play the game? I said, we just did. I said, never play a game you don't know the rules. And I said, what do you think I studied? I said, I studied, law, and I studied criminal justice. I studied political science, because how was I going to be a criminal and not know the rules? And I said, so we have to do things on a different level, but being able to change the way that they were thinking. I said, I'm not trying to stop you from being a hustler. I want you to change the product. So we have to do that. And then as they did that, we ended up changing, how people thought, because everybody, so I made the guys who ran the hall my hall soldiers. I'm like, hold on, yo, you letting people run your halls? And they'd be like, clap their hands, get to class. You know what I'm saying? And so I was able to show their worth. And they need to be able to see their worth in situations, and we were able to change. With other teachers, we just want to get them out to school. I'm like, well, I'm trying to keep them in so we can show them what their worth is right here.
Here's a question. Hold on to your hold on to your seats for this, right? Because anybody, some people listen to the. Well, one of the great things about asking questions is you get a fair perspective of everything. Some people listen to all black men. We talk about black.
You can't be racist.
We can't be racist.
And I like to tell you why.
Go ahead.
Comes from power.
Racism is a system
Come on.
of resource and
Put it
opportunity
out there.
monopolization.
Right.
It is a system that all members of a particular group participate in to disadvantage all members of another group.
That's right.
In order for us to be racist, we must exercise control over resources or opportunities for another group.
Right.
So if white people would accuse us of being racist, I would ask the question, what institution do the men in this room control that would allow us to manipulate opportunities and resources to the point where all white people would somehow be disadvantaged? Black people don't own nothing. Right. Black people don't control nothing. Right. If you get mad at a white person, they don't care. But if a white person gets mad at you, you better care, because his grandfather is your boss. His uncle is your judge. Right. His nephew is your probation officer. His sister is your loan officer. Right. You understand?
Right,
so you have to have resources to be racist. All we have is attitude.
Right. That's right. You ain't joking. You ain't joking about that.
I love it. Go ahead, sir.
You ain't joking
Go ahead.
about that. I like that.
No,
He
no,
gives me
I was-
hope.
I was
He
gonna
He
does.
gives me hope.
He
You
does.
know what I'm
I
saying?
know, Dr.
If we had,
Umar, I know what.
Hell no. I wish a Negro in this room would dare say it's acceptable. Y'all better not. In the name of God, Mother, Jesus, Mary,
Or
Buddha.
as Dr. Sutton said, the side chick.
She can't even be the side chick. She better not be on the menu, the entree, or in the restaurant.
You're right. You're
But
right.
but you do. Good thought.
I'll go really quick.
I was trying to jump in there, but I knew he was going to get me. I was like, all right,
Really,
go ahead, brother.
really
Go ahead,
quick.
brother. I got to get in there.
Intergenerational disappointment. And what I mean by that is the black woman is angry that the black man cannot do for her what she sees other men doing for them. We have to it's not that there's anything with the black man. Do the same that the other man does for his woman. See, the black woman only gets bitter when she doesn't understand rules. But when she understands the rules and why this is being done, then that ain't political agitation. Let us fight to make. You have to understand that the reason the black woman is angry because she had disappointment. He is black man, didn't have character issues, but simply didn't have on it. But if we become politically, we then also understand that it's not act under those types of situations when they see that frustrated, not being able to to graduate to a point where we can overstand that our problem we fight to. So the black woman, black man, the black man is the black woman are being with it. I'm in negative.
Right. One thing I gotta say, just like Places versus Ferguson established the separate or equal, but Brown versus Board of Education did the integration. One is we should have made the separate but equal law first strong. It was always separate. It was never equal. And so when you had that go straight into Brown versus Board of Education, you had people that went away and they thought that we had arrived. And so we left our own stores, we left our own restaurants, we left our own banks, and we wanted to go to 7-Eleven, and we wanted to go into Ruth Chris and everything else. And so I only say that to say that we established something, but so we had parents that didn't want our children to go through the same struggle, so they bought them stuff. And stuff took away. And stuff. So you had a person wanting LeBron tennis shoes and Jordan tennis shoes and not focusing on the character. We had to work, and we had them Chuckers, or we had those Jack Purcells, and we had them $10 tennis shoes, but we had to have some clean pants and a clean shirt, and we was going to come clean. And so I only say that to say that we had young people that did not have the level of character that we used to have. and it changed how we looked at things. And so it was something that my daughter really showed me something. She said, Daddy, she said, you know what, I may never get married. I was like, why would you say that? And she said, because I may never find a man like you. And she said, my teacher was reading about you, and she said, Genesis, she said, did your daddy, she said, save somebody in a fire? Did stop a carjack? I heard he works with gang members and he took some homeless people into a house. And she said, yes, ma'am. But the statement was, she said, is your father a policeman or a fireman? She said, no, ma'am. She said, he's just a man. And that statement, when she said that to me, I'm telling you, it rocked me. But the reason it did is because I saw that society had lowered its standard for men so low that when you finally see a real man, he looks like a Superman. But he's not necessarily a Superman. He's a man being a man. So my whole thing is that, you know what, I saw that to be, different. And it was something that I saw that we was going to have to actually be able to show our children something and bring back that character. You can't go nowhere Saturday until you clean the house. You're not going nowhere until you finish those books and finish your project and, and everything. And so we have to get back to certain basic values to take away from what stuff has done to our families as far as breaking down, the different foundation. And so where a person doesn't have to have character as long as he look like $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So he's weighing $1,000 and he's on the bus and he's okay with that. And so I think that we have to but it's hard to be a man when you haven't seen the blueprint of what a man looks like. And so we have to get back to that village of going back and having that, so what, his father may be incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Get something positive from that drunk uncle. Get something positive from that deacon. Get something positive, meaning the village is going to have to help come together and save that child. And we need to take it off of the shoulders of the woman.
We have a new guest. I just. Hello, Selena Lovelace. How are you? Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself, real quick.
Touch on this. What do y'all? I believe. I leave it up. We would. I don't about them, but I do live in a society where there is umbrella. This whole society since its inception. Okay, and that is black folk get back, white folk get all the privileges, free rides, and benefits of everything. That's the rules of the game here. But see, there's places where we don't have to play by those rules. So to me, our problem is in urban areas. There's no reason for black folks to accept those rules of the game.
That's right.
When you're in the majority.
That's right.
So when you're in the majority and you acting like a slave, you need to get slapped. Really. I mean, you really do.
I love it.
Now, when it comes to sisters, right? This is what I know about sisters. I'm gonna tell you, because when the sisters, when you got legit sisters, and anybody that's out, that's a black man that's out exposed, right? Where the system is trying to hurt you and take you out every day of your life. Okay? When there's sisters that got your back and you know they legit in having your back, and it ain't got nothing to do with what they do or don't do.
That's right.
When they got your back, you got a lot of room to error, and they still got your back.
Come on, that's sexy, right?
Okay?
I know.
Sisters are so valuable to our community.
Come on, brother. Yes, they are.
And mothers. So if your mother, my mother was such a wonderful person to me that I wouldn't have any reason to expect somebody from any other culture to love me more than she did.
That's right.
So you're looking for folks with mother-like qualities to be with you.
That's right.
Right? So I'm just saying, maybe I didn't say nothing, but maybe I said something. When I was the state president of NAACP in Delaware and the regional chair, and I got to appoint certain people, I found myself appointing a lot of women because they could be trusted. As long as you're, if sisters see you for real about what you're doing,
Yes, sir. They gonna
there's
ride.
some of them that got your back.
Right.
And then there's some that's over with the oppressor
Right.
trying to set traps
That's right.
to take
Go
you
ahead.
out.
Go ahead, Doc.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so I wanted to touch on what you were saying. So do what you want to do, but that's how I feel.
I have to go, but I'm
All
gonna
right,
leave
brother.
one last question. Okay, first of all, I have really enjoyed this. It has
Thank
really
you,
been good.
thank you,
It's been
brother.
wonderful, really good. Hopefully,
still
get
going
together and do it
down.
again.
Yeah.
I have a show, so maybe you guys can come on the air.
All
We can
right.
finish this. My new book will be out later in the spring. My new book is entitled "The Many Facets of Manhood." So
Okay.
I want to ask the question: what is your definition of manhood?
Okay. Is it-
It's called man. That's right. You're man.
You got a child.
I'll leave them.
Yeah, though, but from my understanding, Robert has own what you're doing. Nobody else don't victim at what, because at the end of the day, your life, living it full on completely. So my always help me try to be the best that I possibly can. People they just tell me to strive for A's and nothing. Now I'm putting my up.
What is it right now, brother?
Be honest.
2.0?
It can be better.
All right,
Okay.
I don't know. We
It's-
need to revive.
Right.
A's and B's.
Honest.
A for Africa, B for black. We don't do C's and D's. Caucasians and devils get the grades up.
I'm gonna get him up, but last time
He's I'm gonna get him up.
bro,
That's
my
your word,
semester
man. You
down.
gave your word.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it up. But first they just tell me the best that I possibly can. Slacking is just be the best that you possibly can. Meeting people. To be a blessing. Aid
That's
to
that's
be a
deep.
blessing.
Deep. I like that. And you know, I would like to say, you know, I guess for me, something that I told my children, I said, you know, it's my job to teach you for life without me. And so, you know, I ain't worrying about what happens when you're in my presence. I need for you, you know, to know. So my 8-year-old is a green belt in martial arts, and he plays chess, and my 12-year-old, he Jeremiah, he actually plays the bass guitar. He plays chess, and he has his own business as chef, and he's a yellow belt in Taekwondo and a yellow belt in Tendo. My daughter, does kickboxing, plays the keyboard, viola, saxophone, and she also has cut her own CD and different things of that nature. But I only say that to say that, to me, fatherhood is about sacrifice. Fatherhood is about not looking fly so that your children can eat, so that the bills are taken care of. It's about accountability. It's and to be honest with you, it's about also sometimes having to lay down your life so that your children can live. And so, for me, it's the whole thing about fatherhood. If you are not a father that will be willing to sacrifice to not have those brand new Timberlands, and to not have the finest tennis shoes, and or being at the club with the bottle with the sparkler in it, so that my children can have food on the table, and so that they can have a decent way of life. I feel that that's fatherhood to me.
Guys, it was really a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
Right.
Appreciate you.
All right, come on, Mr. Lena.
Yes.
We got a few minutes. So, it was a lot we were going to talk about: gentrification, colorism, crash of black on black crime that's going up here right now. And of course, Rashid made a statement that shot on her block. A bullet lodged through
her window.
Her house is like, okay, how do we get our black youth doing whatever it is that the board needs? Let's love on one. All this money. Okay, why don't I just put a little bit for my pocket? Community. So, like, how do we get? Thought about it, but this he may not Baltimore like in it. Just to come on
in
here.
the traffic
I got
too.
More Johnson is out here doing traveling all over. I got everyone to benefit their community. How do we get not be in dumb stuff?
Oh my. Being a youth advocate, working with teens, at-risk teens, I would say for me personally, myself, I'm speaking just what I say, starts with like the household. A lot of the kids that we service come from broken households. Father's incarcerated, mom left, parents are both parents are on drugs. There's a cycle of the family members in jail, families on welfare, they live in low income houses. It's just kind of almost like it's a cycle that just haven't been broken. So what I try to do with the youth that I service, and that's either with the DA's office and also with Vision Quest. A lot of times what I try to do is a lot of things that let me just slow down. I don't have them every day, so it's kind of hard to break a cycle when a person doesn't live with you. But a lot of my kids know my background, know that politics, they know that I've worked with a bunch of different organizations. So when they speak certain languages, I correct them, and I try to keep them encouraged. Like, they were downstairs, I asked them if they wanted to come up and see. They like, no, Miss Lovelace, you always, have us hanging out with you, doing your political stuff. And I'm like, no, I said, I kind of want y'all to see, just people that are outside of, the norm of what they constantly seeing. So just to kind of get back to the question, I don't want to put blame on a household, but me personally, myself, I just see a lot of things that go on that the kids that I service on a day-to-day basis, things that, so either their parents want to be their friends, they sit with them, they they kind of pretty much are allowed to do whatever. So it's kind of like when I was growing up, there was structure. You know, I had grandparents, I had grandmom and grandpa. My grandparents worked. My grandparents lived in one house for 55 years. You know, I've never moved around a lot. Some of the kids that I deal with, they're moved from coast, you know, they're here 1 month and the next month they're not here. So I just think overall is me
From the home.
it stems from
Anybody else
the
think
parents.
Yeah.
It's the parents.
I think it does, but also there's another piece to it. When you're dealing with, you know, okay, as I was mentoring, I was dealing with the two parents, and then I was dealing with the single mom, then I was dealing with the grandmother. The problem is that I'm dealing with a younger grandmother now. She ain't Nana, she just Denise. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So we're dealing with, and so there's a level of resentment that I've raised my kids. And now I'm still young, so I still want to be able to go out and party and do my thing. See, the old grandmother made sure that your pants was ironed. She made sure she cooked. She had some oatmeal on there. She had them swollen ankles, and you could hear sliding through the kitchen and everything else. She sent you to Sunday school even when she didn't go. But now you're talking about somebody that still wants to get out, get a party on, and there's a level of resentment that I'm now still raising a child. So before, if you brought your friend over, it'd be like, okay, then I'm going to pour another cup of water on the spaghetti, and then I'm going to, I'm going to feed him too. Now it's like, look, I really don't want to be feeding you, so you tell your friends to go home. And so we have to get back to the village of part as far as what we do, as far as with this, because right now we have dropped the ball. Because see, the thing is, I can't blame the family because the family already has been broken up. We have to have the ones, if you know better, if you have resources, we're going to have to get on some one-on-one. Programs can't fix this situation. No real just program is going to fix it. It's going to have to take people that's going to say, look, I'm going to take this young man and I'm going to start working with him. I need for you to live. Son, I need for you to live. In fact, I want to see you next week. I need you to make it through this week. I need you to make 2 weeks. And in fact, we're going to celebrate at the end of the month because now you done lived a month. And so we have to do it for one bit at a time. My father used to tell me, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so we're going to have to actually deal with that community thing, going back to the village, because if we're focusing on the programs, if we think the governor or the mayor is going to put some grant money to a program that's going to fix our situation, it's not coming. The cavalry is not coming. We have to be the cavalry. When I'm out there marching in Baltimore, it's something that we yell and we say, we all we got. And then the chant with everybody coming back and says, but we all we need. And I love that because it's going to take the village and it's going to take real people that care to come back. And we're going to have to get the groups. Now, the programs are fine, but I'm saying that along with that, we're going to have to actually bring one-on-one, each one teach one.
I'm going to add to that. Systems and processes put us where we are. Systems and processes are going to take us back to where we belong. Although individual responsibility and ethic is important, you don't solve community problems by depending on individuals. You solve community problems by implementing systems for the entire community. One of the reasons why we don't solve none of the problems we have, mass incarceration, unemployment, miseducation, is because we employ the same strategy that white supremacy employs whenever we bring up our list of problems. The white man says what? Y'all need to work on your individual character. Ain't no system in place that's doing this to black men. Ain't no system in place doing this to black children. And then we turn right around and employ the same strategy he uses. And for every problem in the black community, unemployment, teenage pregnancy, black on black fratricide, miseducation, we will say individual families need to do a better job. Don't get me wrong. There's always room for the individual. But going back to the village concept, we need to implement community-wide strategies, community-based protocol. You cannot put any more pressure on the single black mother than she already has.
You ain't joking.
2/3 of our children are being raised by single mothers, and 2/3 of those single mothers are also dealing with a concomitant medical or mental health crisis. Not only am I raising 5 kids on my own, I have brain cancer. Not only am I raising all my grandkids, I have cervical issues. Not only am I doing the best I can with my 2 sons who don't listen to me no more, you understand? I got diabetes. I'm on dialysis. The worst thing we can do is make the problem of the black youth a issue of a single black mother. That's called a scapegoat. When are we going to hold the churches accountable? When are we going to hold the politicians accountable? When are we going to hold the black bourgeoisie accountable? When are we going to hold the community-based organizations accountable? We're the only community that will point at a single black mom and say, if our boys are going to do better, you got to do better. Yeah. Why the hell she left raising a boy on her own in the first place? How is it possible for black kids to be getting miseducated the way they are with a church on every other corner filled with teachers? So we have to do a systems analysis, and we have to do a processes assessment and look at what we can implement community-wide to change pathology. Because when a white man comes and drops problems off, he don't drop problems off for individuals. He drops problems off for communities.
Come on now.
I'm getting ready to think that you don't like churches.
I love church. I love the gospel of the Lord.
We both do, brother. We both
love church. My only issue with some churches is how they talk about how godly they are, but they allow the devil to operate in our community unchecked. Yeah. How can a man of God be collaborating with the devil? That's the contradiction that I have an issue with.
However.
He starts the sentence off with however. Okay, here we go.
Not all. You also have to realize that the devil's in the church too.
Yes. Teach.
So sometimes the church has to be restructured. You know, you have. There are a lot of churches, and there are a lot of young people that stop going to church or disengage themselves because they made a mistake, and everybody in the church is holier than thou. So, you know, they down them. Okay, she got pregnant, well, like she's young. They make them feel like
not worthy.
Yeah, not worthy, trash, or the young boy. Sometimes we're disenfranchised within our own church. So I do understand what you are speaking of, and sometimes there is a big disconnect. There's a big disconnect between the saints and the sinners, so to speak. So, I admire the work that y'all do, going to the community. And, telling them, you still have, encouraging them. The power of encouragement is mighty. And the church needs to do more. Needs to do more in engaging with, especially these young people. A lot of the young people, let's put it that way, are lost. And trying to get them to come back to a thought process. You have made many statements, Dr. John. But will that change anything? Or will that change anybody's mind that's listening? Everybody's thinking single, not collectively. My church this or my church that, or my group of people or my group or my kids. My kids ain't
tribalism
until something happens to their kids. Or I ain't gonna get into that. I know who did it, but I ain't gonna get into that. And then something happens to one of your kids, and who? Don't y'all know what happened? That kind of thing. We're in terrible times, and it almost at times seems like we can't get out of those terrible times, especially with the death rate going up already.
First, let's introduce yourself.
Yes, sir.
My name is Lou.
Welcome.
I'm the CEO for.
I wouldn't say I'm from Kingston. You still there?
Building.
Make sure that's where I'm from. Yes, sir.
The main thing, I am one of those. I still a young. Taught. I just. No.
He sound like
I mean, you know, there was a question for me to want to learn it, but it was being a wise guy. What I was trying to find out is why should I do it? So connected to my life. A lot of times when we were coming up, and we had a choice, and the teacher didn't give me the answer, I switched my major in high school, something that they don't even do here. When I was going to school, we had academic. Everybody who was in 1 or whatever, we knew they was going to college. That was their target.
Tracking.
And then if you wanted just a job, all I wanted to do is just graduate, get me a job. I was in the general. General was like book 2. So everybody knew that they'd either be in clerical or whatever, but they was going to go get out of high school and just go and get a job. Then the ones that felt that they wasn't academically high, but they knew they could do things with their hands, they went into book, got what it is, book, whatever, but it was for trade.
Right.
Cooking, carpentry, whatever.
Plumbing, electric, welding.
Everything that was being taught in your major, you knew you would walk out and be in an entry level position to get a job.
Functional academics.
So I would go to school knowing that I was going to go into some kind of career. So what I'm saying is they took away the 3-tier educational component. So, and they put it into a cookie jar type operation.
Yeah. Everybody go to college now. Everybody.
When you mentioned system, the policies and the system that came into place that put us into where we at was allowed by pretty much my generation. I'll be 70 this year.
All right.
You know, 71, whatever. But in any case, we was hoodwinked. We went along with the DHS movement.
That's right.
We went along with a lot of stuff thinking they was going to improve it.
That's right.
What I'm saying is that the core to solving much of the youth problem with education and getting a good job is to make sure that each curriculum that in school that they go to zero it in to something that they know they can go right out of high school and at least go into an entry level training component.
Not no more, Baba. That's done.
You know, so right now you're sitting here, you learning something, you're saying, well, why am I learning it? And as far as the other side of the coin, we had my generation never was scared of young people. We never had no fear of them.
That's right. Teach.
See, so we always had dances, parties. We had a lot of
For the young
activities
people.
I met my wife, and I've been married, 47 years now?
Oh, man.
Congratulations.
I've been alive, bro.
I got 13 grandkids, I got 3 children. So, just to end it, what I'm saying is that the other side was we had a lot of supervision at the basement party where parents would come downstairs and check on us to see if we learned how
Turn
to
that light
talk
on.
and rap to girls. That's how I met my wife. Cha-cha, and things. Where these kids can go?
Oh, man. I'm not going to no house party.
So,
They shooting them joints up, Baba.
that's just one of my instincts. I think that we have to focus on education and tie it in and make sure that anything that we offer our kids, we can show a direct relationship with knowledge,
They get functional.
including politics.
And that'll keep them in school because they see the relevance.
And the church.
Right.
That's
You see
right.
a relativity, be connected to the real world to them, they all on it. Because they're pretty much smarter than we.
Yeah. Only thing I
we
add to
just
that,
gotta give
Baba,
them an opportunity.
totally agree with you. We also helped undermine our children by allowing the promotion of athletics and entertainment above and beyond academic and sexual achievement.
That's right.
In the black community, and we don't like to admit it, we celebrate those who dropped out as long as they became rich in a profession that depends largely on luck.
That's right.
You understand?
It
So
does.
as long as our children see us honoring the athlete, the rapper, the singer, above and beyond those who hitting those books day in and day out, many of them are going to opt for the opportunity to try to get rich quick as opposed to staying with them books because they see all the attention goes to the athletes and entertainers. I'm a school psychologist. I haven't been in a school. And I was school psychologist for the magnet schools, and even in the magnet schools, because Philly has some of the top high schools in the country. Bodine, Masterman, Girls, Central. But guess what? Even in them schools, athletes are celebrated above and beyond the academicians. So until we put some balance back where our children are valued for achieving academically, then we're never going to get them back because they see us worshiping people who have been in jail with murders and bodies and selling dope and crack and this and that. So as long as the adults are honoring those who opted for a life other than academic excellence, why should they bother?
Man.
Comment on, earlier you mentioned gentrification. And I know we didn't get to really talk about that, but I want to make a quick comment. I have this theme that I try to keep in mind. I don't, and this relates to young kids. Folks, I ask folks to ever play the game of Monopoly. Almost universally, all ages, folks have. Have you ever played Operation? Almost universally, people have played the game Operation. What we have in our urban area is that there's people who are playing Monopoly. Neighbor. In Monopoly, you don't see any people except that corner that's going directly to There's no other people in the Monopoly.
We all land there.
But in a game of Operation, there's a human being where people are trying to repair, to heal the person.
That's right.
And so when I talk to young folk, I try to use that as a way to explain to them that in urban areas, we got a whole lot of people hurting that need But the people who are now coming back to our urban areas over, they have no interest in operation. They only care about playing Monopoly.
Right.
Making money,
Right.
taking property, living property, all of that kind of stuff. Building hotels, kicking people out of the. Remember, the water used to be where the poor people live, on the water.
That's right.
Now it's where the rich people.
They want it. They want
So
that.
that's my comparison that I use. Young people can understand that. But this is going on in places where black people. That's what somebody would say angry. But don't make me angry. That's what I feel like. We're not making the power move.
No, we're not.
See, when we disrespect, it's funny, I always hear people bad-mouthing these folks, 50 Cent, right? But they made power moves in their field. We need everybody making power moves. Whatever you do, we need people using their skills to make power moves. So earlier when I said that I work in redistricting, that's a power move when you're trying to influence how the government is structured so that black people get a fair amount of seats.
That's right.
When you're trying to interfere with how the court system is stacked, who's in the seats making decisions. It's no different than the power moves that the people I just talked about made. LeBron making power moves. Michael Jordan making power moves. You know how people always want to make us hate people from our community that make power moves? Why is that? Because we're actually super skilled people with boundless energy, the ability to recover from anything and everything. And folks fear black folks and getting our act together. But they don't have to have fear of us because we're not mean-spirited. We wouldn't do to people what people did to us. That's not our nature.
We'll do it to each other.
I was about to say, but that's what evil fears. Evil fears righteous. And when you're trying to do right, it's only going to get them scared because now the positivity is overdoing what's negative. And so you have to keep persistent, and I agree with you on that. You have to keep persistent. You have to keep making positivity a stronger force than what any type of evil is being done to in life.
That's right. Except Michael Jordan, his wife is white. Teach! Teach!
His first wife wasn't.
He got that one in there.
That's right. That's right.
He had a black one first.
Well,
You're the blackest thing in Charlotte. The hell you doing with a white Cuban? Teach!
I want to thank everybody for coming out here. I know we started off late. A lot of traffic. I appreciate everyone coming out, and everyone that I reached out to, all accepted. But we gotta cut it short.
Yeah.
Miss Lovelace has to go.
Right.
School. No, we still in school. No, we out of school. But anyway, he has to go back. But I wanted to before we go, I want to reiterate again who you are, how people can reach out to you, whatever it is that you have. Your books, your events, how people can get in contact with you, volunteer, cash app you, funnel some funds to your organization. Dr. Edward Sutton, please. And then, of course, I need everyone to leave our audience with something positive to rest their head on.
Okay. I'm Dr. Ted Sutton. I'm the founder of Men Against Murder and also Sutton House Incorporated. I'm doing the People Can Change Youth Movement. And you can also look me up on the Instagram as Dr. Ted Sutton, on Facebook as Edward Sutton or Ted Freedom Fighter Sutton. And so we are doing that. And also one of the things I teach my young people is that your success starts where your comfort zone ends. And so we have to get out of our comfort zones to try to make a difference.
Thank you.
For me, we're getting ready for the National Independent Black Parent Association 50-state tour. We're going to go to every state this year and teach them the ABCs of the school to prison pipeline, how to save your child from special education and psychiatric medication. You can go to my website, drumarjohnson.com, to get that information. And of course, donate to the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, which is in Wilmington, Delaware. Get on your Cash App, cash.me/$FDMG School, or you can mail those donations in, P.O. Box 9634. Wilmington, Delaware 19809. Any black parents out there with issues involving their children, don't know what to do, hit up Dr. Umar Johnson, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. Stay away from the white girls, Black Power.
Black Power.
Dr. McNair, Tracy McNair, Alternatives to Recidivism, Conferences and Resource Fairs. It has become an annual thing now. From the success from the first one. So I definitely want to invite everybody to look out for that. This year, it's going to be in Delaware, in Wilmington. And as I said, it is to promote alternatives to recidivism, which is going back to jail or reoffending. It's very much so a prevention method for young people, women, older people as well. We focus on job training, resources, justice reform, anything that we can do that, everybody has, in my thought process, everyone has a social responsibility to be the best humanitarian that they can be, to teach others to be the best version that they can be, and that everybody, especially our culture, should have a better quality of life. Forward.
Go ahead, Mr. Guy.
Yes, I have my, in my pocket, I guess because I'm a little bit old school and a little bit new school, but I keep my NAACP Life membership card in my wallet. And what we've gotten away from is the institutions that helped us so much. And that used to be the gathering place of all black people. So it didn't matter what your point of view was. If all of us lived in the same city, one thing we would have in common is we'd all be part of the NAACP. We bring all our different thoughts and ideas, but that organization would be able to support everything everybody's doing if it wasn't co-opted. What we've not done is we've not gone back and laid
extreme to what has helped bring us this far. People have abandoned the one organization that actually had a structure and curriculum, things that you need to learn for young and old. And so what I want to encourage people to do is for everybody to meet at that location. But we don't have a place where we are.
Go ahead, Mr. Jerron.
So my name is Gerard McNeil, 20-year-old entrepreneur, author, and empowerment speaker. I have a book out that's called Alex the Persevering Outcast to Alpha Male, and what it's about is overcoming depression, suicidal thoughts, and negative thought patterns. And it's helping you understand the value of God that's bridging deep within your spirit, within your heart, that you can add value and make a difference to other people's lives, and you need to have gratitude and focus on what you can do to make a difference and not focus on what you can't do. And it's about overcoming bullying. I have an event that's coming this was February the 8th, which you can find on my link on Instagram and purchase a ticket if you want to show up to it in Voorhees, New Jersey. It's my Instagram is Jerron is phenomenal, Jaron, and then is phenomenal. I'm on Snapchat, Jerron McNeil, J McNeil 916, and also Facebook, Jerron McNeil, and that's it.
My name is Louis Harris, the Warden Center and Health Nastics Center. The Warden Center works on adult services and housing. Health Nastics work with youth and gymnastics, specifically gymnastics. One of the things that I would say is that you can always reach me at the 215-651-4757 or at Health Nastics, gymnastics, ALHNASTICS @gmail.com. One of the things that we're working on, trying to strengthen our community on the connection to politics and their economic and education. Now, I'm not going to go too deep in that, but one of the things I would begin with is saying that young people, stay true to yourself. We may want you to be a whole lot of things. Be true to yourself and accept failure and success on equal plane. And make it, you can turn both negative and positive as growth to yourself and to your community. That's basically.
Okay, well that's basically it. We basically done. I thank everybody for coming. Basically, I really appreciate it. I would love to try to do this again later on. Down when it's a little bit nicer out, when less traffic, get some catered food going up in here.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate But I really do appreciate everyone for taking their time, because y'all could have been any place else. I appreciate y'all, because there's a thing going on you were talking about, and everyone is coming from all over, stuck in all kinds of traffic. And I really do appreciate everyone taking the time to come out here to spend and share and talk about everything that's going on and how needed it is, and of course, leave the white ladies alone. And,
Oh, God.
Leave them alone.
But I appreciate it.
Leave them alone, cook meat.
But next week I will be here, and the 30th. The 30th, I'm going to be having a Teen Thursday, so I'm going to open it up to teens to come out here, and of course we're going to be talking teen talk. No parents will be allowed inside, and I'm not digging and prying, opening up any, whatever goes on. It's just stuff that we need to know about. What is it that's going on that's bothering them that they feel as though parents or adults aren't listening to, what is it that's going on out in society that we don't know about, that y'all want to vent and share. But so the 30th we're going to be here and we're going to talk about that. But moving on, I appreciate everyone for taking the time to come out here, all our listeners. And in the meantime, and all of in between time, I gotta go.
All right now.